What makes human societies adopt social structures that seem so unusual at first glance? How do ancient traditions, born in harsh conditions, continue to influence the modern world, leaving mysterious traces in our cultural code? The Arabian desert, vast and captivating, holds many such secrets, and one of the most intriguing is polygamy, deeply rooted in its history and culture. But was it merely a whim of the powerful, or do far more complex processes of adaptation, social survival, and assertion of power lie behind this phenomenon? On this journey, we'll travel back through the centuries to unravel this multifaceted mystery, exploring not only its outward manifestations, but also the underlying reasons that made polygamy an integral part of life for the Arabian peoples.
When we speak of the Arabian desert, our minds instantly conjure images of endless sands, a scorching sun, and caravans stretching towards distant oases. But that's only one side of the story. Arabia is the cradle of civilizations, a place where empires were born and died, where unique cultural traditions adapted to the harshest conditions took shape. It was here, in this realm of sand and wind, that polygamy acquired special significance, becoming not just a form of family organization, but a powerful tool of social engineering, a symbol of status, and undoubtedly of power. But why here, and why like this? How did this phenomenon, which often sparks heated debates in the modern world, function within the context of Arabian societies? And what lessons can we draw today by studying it from an anthropological perspective?
To begin, we must set aside our modern viewpoint and try to understand the historical and cultural context in which these practices originated and developed. The desert is an environment that demands maximum effort and survival. Resources are limited, and the struggle for them is constant. Unique social adaptations are born in such conditions, designed to ensure the community's prosperity. Polygamy, as one of these adaptations, is inextricably linked to a whole complex of factors, from economic necessity to demographic trends, and of course, the desire to strengthen tribal and clan power.
Demographic balance and the desert's human capital.
In a setting where every person is a valuable resource, maintaining a certain demographic balance becomes paramount. Wars, a harsh climate, and limited means of subsistence often led to a situation where there were fewer men than women. In such circumstances, polygamy could serve as a mechanism to increase the population, ensuring the continuation of the lineage and the replenishment of lost resources. Children are future workers, warriors, and heirs. Therefore, creating conditions for their birth and survival was critically important.
Moreover, in Arabian societies, where tribal structure played a key role, increasing the size of a clan was a direct path to strengthening its influence and power. A larger family meant more hands to work the land, more warriors to defend territory, and consequently, a greater chance of victory in conflicts or successful negotiations. In this sense, polygamy can be viewed as a form of investment in human capital, designed to ensure the long-term stability and prosperity of the community. Economic necessity and resource distribution.
The economy of Arabia, especially in ancient times, was largely based on animal husbandry and trade. In both cases, a large labor force was vital. Women played an important role in household management, childcare, food production, such as cooking and processing milk, and maintaining craft traditions. The more women in a family, the more efficiently the household could be run, the more products could be produced, and the more stable the economic position of the clan would become.
Furthermore, polygamy could serve as a tool for strengthening economic ties between families and tribes. Marriage, including polygamous unions, was often arranged not just out of love, but for practical reasons, to establish alliances, exchange resources, and ensure mutual support. Accepting a woman from another clan as a wife, even if other wives already existed, could strengthen relationships, provide access to new territories, trade routes, or valuable goods. Thus, polygamy became not just a personal matter, but a strategic move in the economic and political game.
Social status and strengthening power. Finally, The role of polygamy as a symbol of power and status cannot be underestimated. In societies where strength and influence were determined by the size of one's clan, wealth, and ability to defend one's interests, the number of wives became a visible indicator of a man's prestige and might. The more wives he had, the more children, the more supporters, and the greater his influence. It was a kind of demonstration of his ability to provide for and protect a large family, which, in turn, strengthened his authority among his kinsmen and neighbors.
For rulers and nobles, polygamy was also a way to consolidate political power. Marriages with women from influential clans allowed for the creation of strong alliances, securing the support of key figures and expanding their sphere of influence. Each new wife could bring not only a new family, but also a new network of contacts, new resources, and new leverage. Thus, polygamy became a tool not only for personal advancement, but also for state building. Rites of passage and social roles. It's important to understand that polygamy didn't exist in a vacuum. It was integrated into a complex system of social norms, traditions, and rituals that governed the lives of every member of society. Rites of passage, connected to getting married, having children, and reaching adulthood, played a key role in shaping identity and integrating individuals into the social structure.
For women entering into a polygamous marriage, this meant accepting specific social roles and responsibilities. While these roles could vary depending on the time, place, and family status, they were generally aimed at maintaining the family hearth, raising children, and strengthening the lineage. Competition among wives for the husband's attention, resources, and position within the family certainly existed, but it was also regulated by societal norms and often resolved through established rituals and traditions.
Adapting to the environment, an anthropological perspective. From an anthropological standpoint, polygamy in Arabia is a prime example of how human cultures adapt to specific environmental conditions and social challenges. It wasn't just a whim, but a complex system shaped by numerous factors. Environmental factors: harsh climate, limited resources, the need to survive in desert conditions. Demographic factors: the need to maintain population levels, especially during times of war and high mortality. Economic factors: the need for labor in animal husbandry, agriculture, and trade. Social and political factors: the desire to strengthen lineage, tribe, and political power through alliances and displays of status.
Anthropological studies show that similar forms of family organization are found in other cultures facing comparable conditions. This highlights the universality of the human drive for survival and prosperity, as well as the flexibility of cultural strategies, which can take many different forms. Polygamy in the context of other cultures. To better understand the phenomenon of polygamy in Arabia, it's helpful to compare it with similar practices in other parts of the world. Polygamy, as a form of marriage, has existed in many cultures throughout history, albeit with different motivations and consequences.
In ancient Israel, polygamy was common, especially among the nobility. It served to strengthen lineage, ensure offspring, and establish alliances. However, unlike in Arabia, the Jewish tradition had stricter rules governing the rights and responsibilities of wives and children. In Africa, in many African cultures, polygyny, one man having multiple wives, was also widespread. The reasons were similar: increasing family size, enhancing status, and economic considerations. Women were often a source of labor and a commodity for which a bride price was paid. In ancient Rome, although Rome was formally a monogamous society, practices existed that could approach polygamy, such as having mistresses and illegitimate children who could be recognized and integrated into the family. These comparisons show that polygamy is not a unique Arabian phenomenon, but rather one form of social organization that could arise in various cultures under the influence of similar factors. However, each culture brought its own unique nuances, defining the role and status of wives, the rights of children, and the overall functioning of the polygamous family. Evolution and modernity. Over time, influenced by various factors, including Islamic law, which incidentally set limits on the number of wives to 4, provided they were treated fairly, globalization, and changing social norms, the practice of polygamy in Arabia has undergone significant changes. Today, it is much less common than in the past, and its prevalence varies greatly depending on the country and region.
Nevertheless, studying polygamy in the Arabian context remains important for understanding the history of human societies. It helps us see how cultures evolve, how they adapt to changing conditions, and how social institutions that seem unusual to us today could have played a vital role in the survival and prosperity of our ancestors. Conclusion. So, polygamy in Arabia is not just an Eastern exoticism or a symbol of tyranny, as it is sometimes portrayed. It is a complex social phenomenon, deeply rooted in the region's history and culture, shaped by the harsh desert conditions, demographic challenges, economic realities, and the desire to consolidate power. It was one of the unique social adaptations that helped the peoples of Arabia survive and develop over the centuries.
By studying this phenomenon, we not only discover the past, but also gain a better understanding of the mechanisms of human community formation, the influence of the environment on cultural development, and the diverse paths humanity has taken to build its civilization. Each such study is a step toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and how we, as humans, shape our world.